The Lakers rattle off another victory as they've been playing really well with Luka on the floor. He hasn't been necessarily scoring a lot of points for them, but some of the things he's doing in between, some of the stats that I think are sometimes overlooked, he's doing. He's playing like Jokic right now, like a better, more adverse, better shooting Jokic. That's what he's playing like right now. If you look at the rebounds, again, has 10 plus rebounds in this game against Minnesota. It's just ridiculous that he's able to do that. And he has a high number of assists. He didn't shoot the ball necessarily that great, but he is very much so still getting his footing. It's only, I believe, this was his 7th game with the Lakers, so still gelling. And LeBron's playing at a level. He looks like it's his second or first year on the Lakers. That's how high of a level of energy that he's playing with. The defense, everything that he is doing looks as if he's just much younger. And you don't realize how good he is as an off-the-ball player. He hasn't gotten the chance to play as an off-the-ball player for the majority of his career. Maybe his entire career, he hasn't been able to be as big of an off-ball guy than he has right now. There were moments in Miami with Dwayne Wade early in that first year where he was kind of the off-ball guy to Dwayne Wade, but then they shifted that and they made him the primary ball dominant. And you look at even with Kyrie, when he played with Kyrie Irving, he was the lead on that team. He was the one bringing up the ball. Kyrie was the one that was the recipient a lot of the time. And then obviously with AD, you look at Luka, he is a pure playmaker, and it's allowing LeBron to go off ball, and it's been ridiculous for him. What he's been able to do, the shooting percentage is going up. Everything's looking great. And this Lakers team, they're looking scary. Now, obviously, it is 2 games in a row. This is something of note that they have let the other team, they've been blowing the other team out by 20 plus, and they've let the other team creep back into games. That's something that could be a depth issue, which is something that needs to be fixed pretty quickly, especially if they were to get into a playoff series and run out of steam, then that could be really detrimental. What I will say is Rui Hachimura did have that injury. It is a knee injury. Never like knee injuries. Never like knee injuries, especially the way, I don't know if you did see the play, he went up for a dunk and it was an off contact, nobody touched him kind of injury. Those are never good, guys. Those are never good. So hopefully he's doing well. They definitely need him if they want to make a deep postseason run. But I think if everybody can stay healthy and keep it together, this is a team that should win the West. They should win the West at this point. From what I've seen from the other teams, if they can keep it together and people can stay healthy, I see no reason why they can't win the West. From what they've done, JJ Redick has been so good as their head coach. And I said it time and time again. It was the right hire. And that has come true. That has come true 100%. And it's because he's a scheme guy. He understands that it's about matchups. It's about play design. It's about where the ball needs to be. There's so many factors that go into it. I think Darvin Ham, when he was playing, was just kind of, I think he was just kind of winging it out there. I really do. If you look at some of the games and some of the things he was doing, I think he might have just been, this is an analytical coach that has been in the league before and says, hey, if we want to beat these teams, like Anthony Edwards in this game, I know he got ejected, but if you saw early in the first half, the game plan was clear, and it's so simple, but you would be surprised how many coaches and how many teams in the NBA cannot do the simple stuff. It's like, just take the star out of the game. You take the star out of the game, things open up. It's pretty much saying that what they pretty much dared Minnesota to do early in this game was say, hey, Ant's not going to get any easy buckets. The rest of the team has to beat us. That's what they were saying. And it's a great game plan. It is the best possible game plan that you can go in there with. Because if you look at his point totals, he can go for 30 on any given night, 40 potentially too. But they were able to boggle him up. I do think he would have had 20 plus in this game if he didn't get ejected. But I still think the outcome of the game would have been the same because they started to creep back into the game once he was out. And I think the big reason because of that is the game plan was just so tightly skewed to cover Anthony Edwards that it kind of messed up the flow. So I think that could be a big reason for it. But just going on to this team, if you look at what they're able to do, Austin Reeves has been incredible during this stretch. There's conversations about Austin Reeves that I think people need to start having about how good he's been, how much better he's getting, the amount of points he's putting up. He's good for 20 a game every night. It's actually ridiculous. And I remember back in the day, about 2 years ago, it was like he's good for 15 a night. Last year, it's like he's good for 18 a night. He has gotten to the 20-point a night club. And some of the things he does makes this team a lot better. So, yeah, this is a really scary team. This is a team that can compete with anybody. I don't know if they have the depth to compete with Boston. I don't even know if they would have the depth in a 7-game series to compete with like Cleveland. But I think they can take everybody in the West. I really do. And you just look at it, it's going to come down to health at that point. Because if LeBron is playing like this in the playoffs, now I don't know how sustainable it is. That's going to be the big question, how sustainable it is, his health. But if he's playing like this, there's no reason why this team cannot win the West. There's just no reason. And everything has just come together so well, the way they've done it. And I want to take one more shot at the Mavericks real fast in this. And it just, when the trade happened, one, I couldn't believe it. It didn't make any sense. I was in such a state of shock. And I think the more you look at it, I think this was a selfish act by one Nico Harris. And I think that he just thought, the Mavericks GM, he was making a play saying, I'm smarter than everybody in the room. I'm going to make this trade. It's going to make us better. We're going to win championships. And it's going to burn him. I looked at the ticket sale prices for the games at American Airlines Arena in Dallas. They're down 42%. 42%. It's bigger than basketball trading a guy like this. It is bigger. There are people in that arena working for that team that are going to be out of the job because of this. A lot of them too. It's bigger than basketball. Sometimes you don't trade a top 5 player. You don't trade a guy that could be the face of the league. You don't trade a guy that has willed you to the finals and 2 conference finals ever. Never. Under any circumstance. It makes no sense, and the Lakers have benefited from it, and he has upgraded in every way. He has went to a better fan base. He's going to be remembered better because of this. He's playing for the Lakers. I think when LeBron's time is up in the NBA, the next face of the league is Luka Doncic. He's playing for the best brand in basketball, and he's one of the most pulverizing players. So complete miss by the Mavericks, and I'm going to continue to harp on it because it just was so dumb, and it's so good to be a Lakers fan right now. Another win. Luka, LeBron, Reeves, they're playing out of their mind, and I'm just excited to see how March goes.